Got plantar fasciitis? Well, I'm going to show you some stretches and exercises while Callie takes us news.
Disclaimer alert, disclaimer alert.
Oh, hey! So before we get started, I just want to thank Zillion for sponsoring our video. They're the makers of the ZMA 35 mini massage gun. And if you're interested in purchasing it or any of their other products, click on the link up there or in the description below. So we're going to go into the stretches. And so the first one is going to be kind of stretching it yourself with your hands. So if you can, cross your leg over so you can get to your foot. So with plantar fasciitis, a lot of times it can be in different spots of the bottom of your foot. It can be in your heel, which is a common spot. It can be up at your the ball of your foot here, or it can be actually along your arch, or it could be all over in those areas. So one of the great stretches to do is a combination move. So what you want to do is you're going to pull your foot up into dorsiflexion. That's kind of bringing it up towards you. But you're also going to dorsiflex your toes as well. So you're going to pull your toes towards you, pull your foot towards you, and then you're going to evert your foot, which is kind of pushing away from you. So it's going to be a combination move. So I'm coming up into dorsiflexion, dorsiflexing my toes, and then turning it outwards. So a lot of times if you've got that plantar fasciitis and it's pretty tender, just pulling your toes up, you might feel it, but getting that little bit of a turnout, you're really going to get that stretch in the arch area. And you might even be able to feel those tendons underneath on the bottom of the foot, very tight in there. So if you can, try and hold it for about 30 seconds, come back, relax it a little bit, and do that 3 times. So again, dorsiflexing or pulling up, same thing with the toes, dorsiflexing or pulling up, and then everting out to the side to get that nice stretch in there. And holding it, as long as you comfortably can, up to that 30 seconds. So then the next one is going to be a super simple kind of seated heel toe raise. But the big part of this really when you're working with plantar fasciitis is to try and lift that arch. So it's kind of like you might have seen in some of my other videos where you're coming up, you're trying to make that arch like a C. But with this one, the important part is keep all your toes down. Sometimes I show where you're kind of coming all the way up trying to make that arch. But this time, instead of coming up on the big toe, make sure this is down and this is down, and just lift up the arch here. So it's lifting this up, not coming into the C, because this should stay down. So coming up and then bringing up your heel and your toe. Think about almost rolling out to the sides with your feet, but keeping your toes down. And then once you're holding that arch, you're just going to go up, bringing your heels up, and then come down, and then bring your toes up. But try and keep that arch while you're doing it, because we're trying to get that arch some strength back in there, because a lot of times with that plantar fasciitis, that arch drops down and gets overstretched, and that's why you're having that pain. So again, if you have to reset every time, bring up that arch as much as you can, bring the heels up, come down, bring the toes up. But see, I'm still kind of in that arch position. So while you're doing these exercises, you really want to try and keep that arch position. We're going to do some standing in a minute, but just kind of thinking about that. So we're going to stand up and go into some stretches now. So with the plantar fasciitis, a lot of times it's really good to stretch out your calf muscles and your soleus muscle, which is in the back of the leg, because if those are tight, it can also have some tightness down on the foot. So a big kind of bonus is to use a towel to get a little bit of an extra stretch. So if you've seen before a general runner stretch, make sure you're holding on to something or next to a wall if you can, is your foot that you want to stretch is back behind you, your toes are pointed forward, and the foot in front of you is forward as well. The front leg's semi-bent. For the calf stretch, your back leg is going to be straight. Now to get that extra stretch, you want to keep that heel down the whole time. So if I'm stretching forward like this and I'm getting a little bit of a stretch in my calf. If I want more of a stretch, sometimes with that plantar fasciitis, that midfoot where the ball of the foot is sometimes hypermobile. So again, to get that extra stretch, I'm going to put it on the inside, so kind of where my big toe is. So I'm just going to kind of put my big toe on there. So I'm kind of at an angle. You can also just use a wedge in the door, and then same position, but now I'm feeling a whole lot more of a stretch, especially in that calf area, even down into the foot now with just a little bit of a rolled up towel there. So again, make sure you're holding on to the wall or holding on to a chair to a stretch. If you have some balance issues, you can do the stretch just like this if you want to. And then going into that soleus stretch is the exact same positioning. You can leave that towel there, but this time I'm bending the back leg as well. And so that now takes the calf out of it, and I'm going to get that soleus muscle, which is underneath the calf muscle. And again, that goes all the way down into that heel, so you really want those loosened up. And then again, holding on to something, and I'm getting a really, really good stretch there, especially with that towel. You don't have to start off with a towel, that might be too much, but if you can, it's going to give you that extra stretch. So these are full stretches, holding for 30 seconds, and then doing that 3 times. A lot of times if you just have the plantar fasciitis on one foot, I would still recommend stretching both sides just to keep both sides loosened up. So now going back into that arch lift that we were talking about, we're going to do some movements with it. So getting your feet about shoulder width apart, you're going to go into that arch lift. So remember, almost just kind of rolling your feet out to bring that arch up. So it's not, I'm not bringing those toes up off of the floor. I'm just lifting up that arch, and then I'm going to do a mini squat, trying to hold that arch the whole time. So if I feel like it's coming down, stop, reset a little bit, try and get that arch, and then just nice and slow. Mini squat. So this isn't going all the way down. That would be a progression later. I'm just basically trying to unlock my knees a little bit, but keep that arch. That's the big thing. So just starting off with a few of those and then progressing as it feels okay. Then you're going to go into a heel raise, but same thing, trying to keep that arch. So I'm keeping this part of my foot down, the ball of my foot down, and just bringing up that arch a little bit, and then trying to come up into that heel raise. So you can see I'm not going as high as I normally would if I wasn't trying to work on holding that arch up, but this is so much harder than it looks, trying to keep that arch up to help strengthen it, and then come up on the toes, and then nice and slow back down. So this might be something you're starting off with just 2 or 3, because you want to make sure you're doing it right, and then kind of progressing from there. Because if you feel like the arch is falling, then maybe even holding on to something while you're doing it, and then just coming up a little bit and coming back down and progressing from there. So there you have it. Those are ways to relieve plantar fasciitis. Thanks again to Zillion for sponsoring the video. If you'd like to purchase a ZMA 35, click on the link up there, and don't forget to subscribe by clicking down there. And remember, be safe, have fun, and I hope you feel better soon.